So you wanna be the king of games, but your matches all end the same. I've got just what you need. Feel free to SMD. Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back with another episode of SMD, the quick and dirty way for filthy net deckers to no-skill their way to the top of the Master Duel ladder. To celebrate the release of the back half of Dawn of Majesty, today we're playing Synchron. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Looking for a place that anyone can upload Master Duel decks and get feedback from the community? Want to give opening Master Packs a try without spending real money? Want to know the gem cost of a deck before you commit? Then check out www.ygoprodeck.com. Now let's slip into Synchron. Synchron is a series of enablers for everyone's favorite white summoning condition. These tuners don't have much in common except for their names, spanning all stat lines and enabling a half-dozen different decks. For most of their lifespan, they've lived apart. That is, until one card brought them together in harmony, Junk Speeder. This Ash Magnet on Synchro Summon allows you to special summon one Synchron of each level from your deck, filling a board with monsters like you or Flower Cardian. But unlike Cardian, these monsters are good. By cycling through a suite of Yusei's Synchro enablers, this deck can easily pivot between powerful extra deck bosses, including the recently released Baron de Fleur. While the strategy hasn't seen much success in the TCG, it's missing Jet Synchron there, another casualty for Hauck's sins. While this strategy does have obvious weaknesses, Max C, Ash Blossom on Speeder, etc., it also has ways to compensate. Speeder is comically easy to chain block, Chaos Ruler's almost as good, and it's one of the few decks with the ability to deck out an opponent packing Max C and no other hand traps. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, our 1-star Synchrons. Jet Synchron is fantastic at turning a Chaos Ruler into a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and Cyber Synchron is great at turning it into a Baron. We have 3 copies of Doppel Warrior. This deck runs out of non-tuners especially quickly. Doppel Warrior ensures that never happens. 3 Maxi, of course, followed by 3 Caligo, Claw, Crow. You want 2-star monsters to pair with Junk Synchron, and this one is a free summon from hand. Speaking of, Junk Converter discards a card and a tuner to add a Synchron from your deck to your hand, and it can then be reborn with a Junk Synchron and trigger its graveyard effect as well. Junk Synchron is your usual normal summon, bringing back a 2-star monster in order to make something like, unsurprisingly, a Junk Speeder. We're playing 1 copy of Fire Ant a Skater to pair with 3 copies of a Skater Dawnwalker. This is a 1-card 8-star Synchro monster, which means that you can make something like a Chaos Ruler the Chaotic Magical Ruler before you commit to anything else. Finally, we are on 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Stardust Synchron, a card that was only just released in the back half of Dawn of Majesty, which is an 8-star Synchro on its own. Its associated Garnet, Stardust Trail, a copy of Monster Reborn, a Foolish Burial, a Rhoda, triple tuning, 1 Stardust Illumination, part of the aforementioned engine, and 1 that makes you able to summon TG Hyper Librarian early in your combo. 3 copies of Synchro Overtake. This can reveal a Synchro in your extra deck. Choose one of the materials listed on the card and either add it to your hand or special the monster. For this, we are usually revealing this copy of Junk Warrior and then summoning a Junk Synchron, but theoretically, we could also play the associated monster for Jet Synchron if we want to add a couple more cards to the extra. Finally, we're on 2 Called By. In the extra, we're playing 13. I'm sorry, I just want my free wins versus Banquet Burn. In reality, you should be playing 15, probably the Jet Synchron material for Synchro Overtake, and something like an FA Dawn Dragster. You end up with the material for a 7 and nothing to do with it a lot. We've got Celestial Double Star Shaman, which is part of a long combo with Martial Metal Marcher, which draws you a ton of cards off of TG Hyper Librarian and climbs you through the Synchro ranks. We've got Herald of the Arclight. This is a fantastic finisher to your combos, and if it's in the extra monster zone, you can protect it in the graveyard with Cyberse Synchron. After that, we have Junk Warrior. You'll never make it, but it's important to have. 1 copy of TG Hyper Librarian, and this deck is really the best case scenario for why this should remain at a single copy. You will draw up to 10 cards with this if you are uninterrupted. Excel Synchron is important for laddering. Junk Speeder is important for actually accomplishing your combos. Stardust Charge Warrior is a great monster to go through because with a TG Hyper Librarian on field, it draws you 2 cards. Psyframe Lord Omega is great because it's an 8 that removes itself from the field. Often your zones are clogged. 1 copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, a Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Ruler. This card is mana from heaven for this archetype. 1 copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend and 1 copy of Baron. Both of these monsters are going to be made with both halves of Chaos Ruler, the one on field and the one from graveyard. So with that, let's see it in action. Our match is up against Gren Maju, and I'll level with you, it was very difficult to get footage for this list. That's because I'd get about 20 or 30 steps through my first turn setup combo and my opponent would just concede. In a scenario where they don't have Max C, what are they going to do anyway? We begin with a copy of Tuning, and we get Dimension Shifted. This isn't TCG. You can't be playing Fluandereeze. Well, this does effectively end my turn, but I've got an Ash Blossom and a Maxi, so I'm not feeling too bad about it. We'll pass back to our opponent, who will special summon a copy of Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentreon Sky Slasher, after normal summoning a copy of Danko Sekka. Don't worry, I wasn't going to set anything. They'll go to the battle phase and dome me for half my life points, but thankfully, not all of them. We should be able to do it from this position, provided they have no further interaction. We'll draw for turn, and realistically, it doesn't matter. A Jet Synchron is an interesting one, though. We're going to normal summon this Junk Synchron, special summon the Kaligo Clawcrow, and then make ourselves a copy of Junk Speeder. No Ash, no Ash, no Ash, no Ash, no Ash, no Ash! Ah, no Ash. Okay. We'll get a copy of Stardust Synchron, a Junk Synchron, and a Cyber Synchron. We're going to use Stardust Synchron for a Stardust Illumination, and then we'll activate the Stardust Illumination so we can send a copy of Stardust Trail to the graveyard. We're going to trigger the graveyard effect of the Stardust Illumination and get Skullmeistered. Who does this? No big deal. We just wanted it to be 3 so we could make effective use of our Junk Speeder, and we do still have a 3 on our side of the field. We'll just have to switch up the combo a little bit from this position. We're going to go into a copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, fearing something like a Nibiru, and from this position I think we can't get interrupted. We'll start a Synchron in hand. Thank goodness we drew this, sending the one on field so we can summon the Trail from the graveyard and then sink a 4 and a 4 into a copy of Chaos Ruler. We're going to trigger the Chaos Ruler, and we're just looking for any extender here. We find off the top a Maxi, followed by a Synchro Overtake, followed by a Kaligo Clawcrow, a Fire Ant, a Skater, and a Foolish Burial. We'll go ahead and take that Kaligo Clawcrow because we can only add dark or light monsters. Then we'll Cyber Synchron effect to modulate it to 2 and make ourselves a copy of Barone. We are dangerously approaching lethal here. From here we can activate in graveyard the effect of the Chaos Ruler, and now we can negate both the graveyard effect of the Gizmek Orochi and the effect of a Nibiru that I hope isn't lurking in my opponent's hand. We'll go to battle phase and attack into our opponent's monster with Crystal Wing Synchro, which gets back to 3k. We'll attack direct with Barone. They'll go for Gizmek Orochi, and we will negate it with the Crystal Wing. After that, we will attack directly with our copy of Barone and our copy of Chaotic Ruler, and that will be the end of the game. So we're back with the deck, and honestly, I love it. Is it as explosive and powerful as Adamancipator with Barone? No, certainly not. Can it play through as many hand traps as Zodiac Tri-Brigade? Definitely not. But is it a cool type of combo deck that ends on monsters that your opponent may not be familiar with? Absolutely. And for that reason, I can't help but be drawn to it. Certainly, I think that it has staying power in an upcoming format, though I wouldn't expect it to scrape tier 1.